Sheila is a cool, brave 22-year-old girl who has recently published an online novel. The protagonist of her novel is a man named Nick, who is also her ideal in real life, and she has named the female lead after herself. What a desperate girl. The reality is, Nick is a famous novel author whom Sheila admires a lot. Today she is going to a fan meeting organized by Nick to get his autograph. But on her way, she stumbles upon a guy who starts showing his interest in her and starts flirting. Sheila has never felt someone interested in her before, because boys always used to steer clear of her like girls steer clear of me. Before Sheila could react any further, a thief snatches away a girl's purse and starts running. Sheila catches him and starts beating him brutally. Watching her ferocious side, the boy runs away for his life. And this is the exact reason why boys always avoid her. Sheila gets disappointed and heads straight to the gym with her best friend. She starts ranting about her day and wonders if she will die alone without having any love story. Apart from that, she also had some good news to share. She has applied for the post of personal secretary in Nick's office, which means, if selected, she will assist her crush everywhere. Her friend gets ecstatic on hearing this and starts motivating Sheila to try her best. After that, Sheila arrives home and leaves fruits in front of the pictures of her dad and her brother, who are no more in this world, but Sheila still shares everything with them. After that, she goes to her room, which is full of Nick's photographs. She starts reading the online reviews of her recent romantic novel, which are not that great. People have remarked it as a simple love story without any interesting villain. Sheila decides to finally modify the character of Arnold, who is the antagonist of her story. She makes him brutal and dangerous, and with great superpowers as well. Moreover, Arnold becomes the only reason that Sheila couldn't marry Nick in the novel. Her mother arrives and reads out the story. She finds Arnold's character much more interesting than Nick, but Sheila is not convinced at all. Her mother tells her that such dark characters are more desirable than boring heartthrob romantic leads, but Sheila can't hear anything against Nick, so she goes for a walk. In the nearby park, there's a famous fountain that is said to make your wish come true. Sheila notices the same old man sitting near it she had been seeing since her childhood. He tells her to make a wish using her coin, but she scolds him for being greedy and eyeing her coin. While they were still debating about the coin, Sheila noticed a couple who wished to stay together forever, and that made her feel alone. She goes near the fountain and wishes for an unforgettable love, and at the exact moment, the coin in her necklace drops into water. Sheila tries to save that coin and dives into the fountain, but there she sees Arnold, the same character from her novel, drowning. Sheila tries to save him, and as soon as she touches him, she finds herself lying unconscious outside the fountain. Sheila takes a sigh of relief, but gets the shock of her life as she sees Arnold lying unconscious in her lap. He is wearing the same historical outfit from the story, with long hair and his sharp sword. He is still breathing, so Sheila tries to wake him up. She starts carrying him in her arms to the hospital. While doing so, she starts thinking says that this looks like a cliché novel plot, where an ancient warrior comes to the present and starts caring for a girl. She doesn't notice that Arnold is now back to his senses and is listening to everything she is saying while wondering where he was. Sheila notices he is awake and then drops him to the ground while taking a sigh of relief. She turns back to go home when Arnold grabs her arms and asks if she doesn't want him to care for her. Sheila threatens him to stay away from her while Arnold wonders about this weird girl and the whole situation. He still can't understand how he reached there. Sheila tells him about how she rescued him from the fountain, but Arnold doesn't believe it because neither of them is wet. Sheila tries to convince him and starts searching for her coin in the fountain, but to her surprise, Arnold has that coin. Sheila tries to take back that coin from him but couldn't. Ultimately, Arnold tosses away her coin and starts walking away to find out the truth. Sheila quickly rushes for her coin and then stops Arnold, asking where he was going. Arnold tells her strictly not to follow her anymore, and then intends to give her something in return for saving his life. He tries to kiss her, but Sheila moves away quickly. Arnold then walks away, leaving Sheila confused. On his way, he finds the same old man walking behind him while talking to someone on his phone. He was saying not to worry as he was brought here for something special. Arnold is then stopped by two girls as he was walking on the road with a green traffic signal. They start fancying his attire and then take a selfie with him. After that, Arnold quickly disappears to a nearby library to find out the truth. After reading some history books, he finally understands that he has been brought 5,000 years into the future, and he is perplexed about why he is here. The next day, Sheila dresses up beautifully and confidently arrives for the interview to be Nick's assistant. But as soon as her interview starts, Nick arrives there, and Sheila becomes nervous in front of him. She is unable to answer his questions, but Nick then leaves for some work. Sheila takes a sigh of relief and then heads back home dejected, thinking that she tanked her interview. But Nick's business notices her and finds her interesting. To add more to her chaos, Sheila's heels get stuck while she is walking back home. A couple notices her but refuses to help her. Sheila starts freaking out and wishes for help, and suddenly her coin buzzes and the message reaches Arnold, who is still sitting inside the library trying to figure out how to get back. As soon as he hears the sound, he is teleported to Sheila. A girl gives him a free rose, and Arnold sees Sheila. He walks towards him and gives her the flower while asking for her name. Sheila tells him her name, and Arnold tells her that she is the one who can answer all of his questions. Sheila starts wondering what answers Arnold is talking about. She perceives him as a crazy man who talks nonsense and casually agrees to whatever he is saying. Arnold is no idiot and tells her that the girl who can't even help herself has no ability to teleport him. Sheila gets angry and asks him to stay away from her, but he helps her by breaking her heel. Sheila gets annoyed because Arnold starts following her everywhere after this. He demands answers for his questions and tells her that he is not from this era. Sheila has started to understand that something about the entire story is beyond common sense. Things suddenly start making sense when Arnold tells her his full name. Sheila recognizes him as the main villain of her novel and immediately rushes inside the approaching bus to get away from the dangerous man. While standing in that fairy park, Sheila wonders if everything is happening because of her wish for an unforgettable love. Arnold suddenly appears behind her and tells her that it is not that easy to get rid of him. He asks her to rewind whatever happened that night, which made her summon him. Sheila remembers that she had wished for an unforgettable love, but doesn't reveal the truth in front of him. Arnold hands over the coin to her and asks her to wish to send him to his time. Sheila wishes the same and drops the coin into water, but nothing happens. She remembers that she was dozing off when she met Arnold, so they lay down to sleep. In her dreams, she sees that same old man found in the park. He introduces himself as G and reveals that he is the fairy god who grants wishes. Sheila requests him to rewind her wish, but the god denies, telling her that it is not in his forte to rewind the wishes, and he cannot help her. Despite Sheila's protests, he returns the coin and tells her to go back and settle down the situation herself, because it was her who asked for an unforgettable love. When Sheila wakes up, Arnold is still sleeping, so she quietly runs away and reaches home. The next morning, she finds herself on the floor while Arnold is sleeping in her bed. Sheila freaks out and tries to quickly run out of the room, but Arnold grabs her from behind and shuts her mouth. Sheila manages to get out of his grip and apologizes for leaving him alone last night. Arnold smiles and tells her that it is not tough to locate her. He asks about the dream which she saw last night, but Sheila tries to divert the topic. Arnold has decided to stay with her until he returns to his world. Sheila resists, but Arnold threatens her of meeting his mother and telling her the truth. Before Sheila could reply, her mother started knocking on the door, calling her for breakfast. Sheila somehow manages the situation and agrees to serve Arnold. She starts doing whatever he says, including feeding him, bathing him, and all other chores, while Arnold keeps enjoying the service. He expresses his desire to get a haircut and get a makeover, but Sheila doesn't have any clothes available for men, so she decides to borrow some of them from her best friend. Arnold asks about her brother and father, whose photographs were kept on the table. Sheila tells him that they are no more. Arnold gets sad at this, but then straightens himself and tells her that it is none of his business. Sheila gets angry and frustrated over this character, which she has created herself. Later on at Nick's office, the directors are having a meeting for the recruitment of new members as their comics are not doing well among the viewers. Nick expresses his desire for recruiting worthy members who intend to write with heart. After the meeting gets over, one of the directors asks her secretary to bring out the profile of Sheila. Sheila's best friend is suspicious of her friend for hiding a boy, so she starts spying on her. Inside, Arnold gets a full makeover with his haircut short, and he dresses like the modern world, but the clothes he was wearing didn't satisfy him. Sheila gets a call from the police station for some work, so she goes out and warns Arnold not to go anywhere while she is out. But Arnold, habitual of annoying Sheila, decides to buy himself some nice clothes. He sells one of his ornaments, and with a bag full of money, he reaches a mall to buy fine clothes. While returning from the police station, Sheila receives a call from Nick's company, informing her that she has been selected. Sheila starts celebrating her success happily, but soon comes across the two thieves whom she was trying to jail. They attack her, and Sheila starts defending herself. In between the processes, a fire gets started, and Sheila starts having panic attacks because of her terrible past. Sheila wishes for help, and her whisper reaches Arnold. He gets immediately transported there and beats away all of the goons. Then, he looks at Sheila, who looks terribly scared and is sitting on the floor. He asks her if she is okay, but then they spot a police car stopping by to help them. Arnold disappears while the police rescue Sheila and arrest the goons. In the police station, they ask Sheila if she remembers who saved her. Sheila denies, but the policemen tell her that they will search for that guy so that she can thank him later. Sheila reaches home and sees that her door was open and gets surprised to see Arnold opening the door for her. She asks her where he disappeared, but notices the bag full of money lying in front of her. Sheila gets terrified, so she asks him if he has looted some bank. Arnold tells him that he got the money by selling one of his ornaments. Suddenly he realizes that he gets teleported to her, only when she is in some sort of trouble. Sheila smiles after realizing the same and starts thinking about summoning him again and again, but he threatens her, realizing what she was doing. While going to sleep, Sheila tells Arnold that he can't sleep with her or in her house. Instead, she lends him another apartment next to hers and tells him strictly to stay away from her home and her mother. Arnold, too, has 3 demands: not getting disturbed while sleeping, being fed regularly 3 times meals, and wanting a smartphone. Sheila gets surprised about his knowledge of modern technologies, to which Arnold replies that he needs one for gathering information from the internet. He then asks Sheila why she reacted to fire in that manner. Sheila tells him her childhood trauma of getting trapped inside a lab when it caught fire. Arnold gets silent for a while but then retorts, saying that he now knows her other weakness. But back in his mind, he's surprised at his behavior for protecting someone, which he never did before. The next day, Sheila gets ready for her new job but decides to check over Arnold. As soon as she is about to open his door, Arnold hears her approaching and hides behind the door. As Sheila enters, he holds her and then puts her outside. Sheila tells him that she was there to check on him and to inform him that his breakfast is ready. When Sheila reaches work, she meets her new colleagues and the former secretary of Nick, Kin Lee. Kin shows her around and then asks if she knows why she was hired, even though she had no experience. Sheila denies, to which Kin tells her that it is because of her determination to work. Later on, Sheila inquires about her new boss from her colleagues, who tell her that Nick never scolds but always kicks out people from their jobs if they don't perform well. They try to cheer up Sheila and motivate her to perform well. After that, Sheila decides to celebrate her first day of job alone, as mom is out of town and her best friend is busy. While eating a hearty meal, she notices a couple having their romantic date. She wishes to have a partner who wipes her mouth in the same way the partners in a relationship do. Immediately, Arnold appears out of nowhere. She gets scared while Arnold scolds her for wishing that, but as he is about to leave, both of their heads start spinning. Her words start ringing in his ears, so Arnold has no choice but to wipe her face and leave. Sheila hides her face in embarrassment. While on the bus, she was in pain again. She thinks of a partner who could have supported her in difficult times like this, but lo and behold, who appears? Sheila gets scared again and hides her head, but Arnold silently sits beside her and places her head on his shoulders. Sheila gets surprised at his change of heart. Arnold takes her to the ferry park and demands what exactly she has wished for, because in the different situations she called him, she is not always in danger but in need of help from a close guy. He grabs her and then asks if she has wished for a boyfriend. Sheila confesses that she wished for an unforgettable love, to which Arnold gets angry and starts scolding her. He tells her that a girl like her doesn't deserve any true love. Arnold leaves and Sheila keeps standing there. His words had pierced her heart. Arnold angrily starts packing his bag but comes across a drawing Sheila drew with instructions about what to do. On the other side, Sheila starts drinking heavily out of sadness, and it starts raining cats and dogs outside. Sheila is drunk, but still decides to walk on her own to home without getting any help. As she steps outside, she notices Arnold standing there while holding an umbrella. Sheila tells him that she hasn't demanded any of his help this time. So what is he doing there? Arnold tells her that he is ready to help her achieve her unforgettable love partner. He will look for one for her. Sheila starts feeling a bit better, and with their usual bickering, they head towards home. Sheila's mother is already home and is waiting for her to give her a surprise. She spots them together and starts talking about him. She lies to her and tells her that she is her best friend, Cece's brother. She tries to shoo him away, but her mother invites him for dinner, and Arnold gets in happily. Sheila's mother starts getting impressed with Arnold. Arnold asks Sheila why she lied about his name, and she replies that her mother has already read her novel, and she could have detected the lies. They start fighting, but suddenly get invited to the dinner table. Sheila knows that mother is not a good cook, but to her surprise, Arnold is enjoying the meal. Sheila's mother asks Arnold about his profession, and he replies that he is a matchmaker. She further asks about his house, and Sheila tells her that she has lent him her apartment as he had nowhere to stay. Later on, her mother tells Sheila that she is very impressed with Arnold. She asks him to give him a thought, but Sheila tells her that she is not interested in him. The next day, Arnold has decided to meet the boys who are near Sheila, but Sheila doesn't have any. So she takes him to Cece's basketball team and has bought a few treats for them. The treats grabs the attention of boys, and they start gathering around her. Arnold shakes his head in disbelief while Cece approaches him. She's misunderstood him as Sheila's boyfriend, so she tells him not to worry as nobody is interested in her, because they don't even consider her as a girl. Later, Sheila reaches her office and starts distributing flowers to her colleagues, but gets surprised after meeting Nick, who has arrived at the office late. He goes to Kin, her old secretary, clearly telling her that her new recruitment will not remain here for more than a week. On her colleague's advice, Sheila later on takes a courageous step by talking bravely to Nick. which surprises everyone. Nick leaves silently while Sheila gets embarrassed, as she has drawn the attention of everyone. After reaching home, Sheila finds Arnold waiting for her and smiling, but she ignores him. Realizing that something wrong might have happened in the office, he grabs her by the neck and pulls her inside his apartment. He then tells her to send him some of her photographs, which she does. Going through her pictures, Arnold realizes that Sheila needs a makeover because she doesn't look interesting. The next day, Sheila tries to sneak upon his phone, suspecting what he is doing with her pictures, but Arnold catches her and, after scolding him, demands the spare key to his room so that she could not get inside. Sheila apologizes and hands him over the keys. Later in the office, Sheila gets glares from everyone because of her unexpected behavior yesterday, so to save her, her senior hands over the storeroom work to her. After the day gets concluded, she informs her that a handsome man has arrived to pick her up. Sheila realizes that it must be none other than Arnold. She runs outside and asks Arnold what the hell he is doing here. He just tells her that he wants to treat her to a nice dinner, and then takes her to a fancy shopping mall first. Sheila doesn't understand what is happening as Arnold hands her over to the staff of the shopping mall, and they make her try some new clothes. Sheila feels awkward in the girly clothes because she's not used to them. But Arnold doesn't care and takes her along to their next destination. It turns out he took playing Cupid too seriously and has arranged blind dates for her with various guys. Sheila freaks out and tries to run away, but Arnold stops her, telling her that she needs to see these guys or his hard work will go in vain. He shows her an edited picture of hers that he used to catfish all of them, and threatens to reveal his real identity to her mom if she doesn't follow through. With no other option left, Sheila goes to meet the men and finds that she only attracted creepy weirdos. Luckily, at the same time, Nick finishes the draft of his story and contacts Kin to collect it. Kin is on a date with her boyfriend, so she sends Sheila for the task and she happily runs away to do her job and get away from these weird people. She doesn't even tell Arnold why she is leaving and takes a cab to reach Nick's house. The door is already open, but Nick is nowhere to be seen. Sheila goes to his office to collect the draft, but as she is heading out, she finds Nick passed out in a bathroom. She freaks out and immediately calls for help, and Arnold gets teleported right next to her. He calms her down and then goes to check in on Nick before getting him dressed and bringing him to his bedroom. There, he wakes him up with an acupuncture technique. Though Sheila was completely rattled, she acts brave in front of her boss, and seeing such a drastic change in her behavior is too much for Arnold. Anyway, they leave his apartment, and Sheila is still wobbly from the shock. Arnold could pick up on some things from her behavior earlier, and he asks her if she likes her boss. Sheila tries to say that it is just a celebrity crush, and Nick won't ever like her back. Arnold tells her that she might be able to charm him if she works hard, and Sheila suddenly gets close to him, acting like she will kiss him any moment. Arnold feels his heart going crazy, but Sheila moves away at the last moment, saying that she has no riz, and if she couldn't seduce him right now, she wouldn't be able to do anything to Nick either. Arnold feels awkward now, and even as they head back home, he can't understand why he felt so uncomfortable with Sheila earlier. Sheila also apologizes for her actions, and they start talking more about Nick. They return home, and Sheila's mom spots them coming back together. Later, Arnold interrupts Sheila during a makeover session and asks her to show him some books of her crush. She takes the books with Nick's autographs to Arnold's room to tell him about them, but he is getting annoyed by her constant yapping, so he tells her to go back to her house since it is too late. Once Sheila reaches her home, her mom welcomes her, asking her to marry Arnold quickly and then give her a few cute grandchildren. Sheila tries to explain that there is nothing between them, but her mom asks why she would wear a new dress to a normal dinner. Sheila somehow pushes her out of her room, and the next day she decides to return the dress. She visits Arnold first, who has done thorough research on Nick and found out the kind of girls he likes. From Arnold's research, Nick likes girls like his former secretary Kin, and none of her qualities are in Sheila. Sheila tells him he is just wasting time because she and Nick can never be a thing, and tells him that if he tries to force her, she will forcefully develop a crush on him, and then he can kiss going home goodbye. Later, Sheila goes to return the dress along with Cece, who fears that she has broken up with her boyfriend. Sheila assures her that Arnold was never her boyfriend, and she doesn't need to worry about it. In the meantime, Sheila's mom goes to Arnold's room with lunch and asks him about his relationship with Sheila. He makes it clear that he just wants to find a good guy for Sheila, squashing the woman's hopes. She then begins telling him the details of their family affairs. She is not Sheila's biological mom. Sheila and her dad lived in this flat and she fell in love with her dad. They married, but soon after that, he lost his life when the flat caught fire. And since then, she and Sheila are each other's only family. Arnold is shocked to hear that, and the more he thinks about Sheila, the more he remembers how close she got to him. He begins to wonder if she really is interested in him. And then Sheila arrives at his door to return the money from refunding the dress. She is practicing how exactly she will return the money to him, but Arnold opens the door abruptly. He takes the money and then starts talking about Nick, but Sheila tells him not to bring up her boss again. He asks if she has started to like someone else, and Sheila jokingly tells him that she has started to like him. Well, Arnold is overjoyed on hearing this, and he immediately pulls her in and pins her against the wall. He says that he accepts her feelings, and from now on, he is her boyfriend. Sheila is shocked, but she asks him if he is just saying this to tease her. She tells him that she doesn't like him, but the narcissist Arnold thinks it is not possible for anyone to not like him. Sheila finds it funny and tries recording his delulu, but he gets irritated and pushes her out. However, he can't stop thinking about her and goes to her room late at night to confirm her feelings. He finds her smiling and calling her name, so he thinks that she really likes him. However, Sheila was just dreaming of throwing the money on his face. The next day, Arnold treats Cece to lunch in order to know about Sheila. She tells him that Sheila has never been in love before because she gets nervous in front of handsome guys. She tells him that Sheila once said that she will understand the feelings of the person she falls in love with, and that gives Arnold an idea. On the other hand, Sheila gets a shock as she reads the latest chapter of Nick's novel, in which he has killed the beloved female lead, and Sheila is deeply saddened because the female lead was her favorite. Suddenly, she gets a text from Arnold, who invites her for drinks. She goes to his room to find him sad and drinking. He begins telling his sob story about how he was orphaned early on, and then the master who raised him also passed away. Sheila doesn't recall writing that, but she still comforts him. Arnold thinks it means she is in love with him, but then Sheila tells him that she is also very sad today because Nick killed her favorite character. Arnold realizes that he just had a clown moment right now. Later, Sheila goes to her office after passing through a mob of protesters. She gets a parcel for Nick and takes it to his office, but just then, Nick and Kin come to the office and they seem to be quarreling, so Sheila hides under the table. Kin tells Nick why he did not inform her before he killed off the female lead, and Nick replies just like she didn't tell him before getting into a relationship with another guy. Kin gets mad at him and leaves, and then Nick trips on Sheila's leg. She nervously gets out, fearing that she will surely get fired, but Nick just asks why she is here. She tells him about the parcel, and as Nick opens it, he is horrified to find a dead chicken inside it. Both of them are shocked, and Nick asks Sheila to quietly dispose of it. She says that they should call the police because this seems to be a deranged stalker's death threat. Nick replies that it is not necessary, but Sheila is insistent, and he thinks that she is trying to do this to get in his good grace. He decides to give her a chance, saying that if she catches the stalker, he will keep her on the job permanently. Sheila wasn't planning this, but it still works for her. However, she soon realizes that she is in a mess. She goes to the washroom to cry about it and then decides to call Arnold for help. He is busy watching a movie, so he doesn't pick up her calls, so Sheila just teleports him to her location. After getting out, she tells him about the death threat Nick received and asks him to help her. He agrees on the first attempt, and they go to Nick's office to set up a trap to catch the stalker. They hide under the table, where Arnold asks why she is going to such lengths for Nick. Sheila tells him that when her dad died, she was depressed, and Nick's novels pulled her out of that. Just then, the stalker comes there, and Arnold immediately chases after him. Sheila follows suit, only to find Arnold wounded on the stairs. She freaks out as he tells her that it's too late to save him now. Sheila is heartbroken, but then Arnold says psych because he was just messing with her. Sheila gets angry now, and she doesn't even pay any attention to the captured stalker as she heads back to the office. Arnold follows her to lighten her mood, and she makes him promise that he won't pull any pranks like this again or put his life in danger. Later, Nick and Kin come there, and Kin lectures both Sheila and Nick for doing something ridiculous and dangerous. Sheila doesn't regret anything apart from putting Arnold in danger, so she just apologizes and leaves, but before that, Kin turns her into a permanent employee. The next day, as Sheila goes to the office, she finds her superior yelling at other workers about a missing file. They say that the file was with Sheila, and she angrily tells them to call her right now. Sheila nervously tells her that she already submitted the file, but after being teased for a while, everyone reveals that it was just a huge prank to celebrate her becoming a permanent employee here. They are happy for her, and just then, Nick comes there. He is not in a good mood because Kin has not come to the office today. He takes his leave, and everyone else tells Sheila that they will have a party tonight. Later, as Sheila is getting giddy about her promotion, she suddenly recalls that it would not have been possible without Arnold, so she decides to treat him first. She tells her co-workers to postpone the party so that she can go out for dinner with Sheila tonight, and then calls him. He refuses to come with her, but Sheila threatens him that she is just going to teleport him here if he doesn't obey her. At the same time, Nick is dealing with his own sorrows and decides to return the gift he had bought for Kin. Meanwhile, Sheila takes Arnold to a game arcade, but he is not interested in them. He calls Sheila stupid as she is playing a VR game, and she calls him a boomer. She takes him to a trampoline gym and then to some fun slides, and they have some fun before heading out. They leave to go to the washroom, and Arnold comes out first. He spots Nick in the same building, returning the necklace he had bought for Kin. Just then, Kin's boyfriend arrives there too to select a ring to propose to her. Hiding the hurt in his heart, Nick gives him suggestions and leaves, but Arnold heard everything. He thinks that since Nick can't be with Kin now, he can set Sheila with him and then go back home after things are sorted here. Later, Sheila returns with a teddy bear for Arnold, and he asks why she took him out today and what she wants now. Sheila clearly tells him that she just wants to thank him for yesterday. After that, he asks how things are going with her boss, and Sheila replies that she has become a permanent employee, but that is all. After that, they return home, and Arnold starts messing with the teddy bear while thinking about Sheila. The next morning, he wakes up early and calls to his flat, where he has some expensive clothes for her. He believes that she should upgrade her style to be more confident in front of Nick, but Sheila refuses the clothes because they're too expensive for her. Arnold tells her they are just a gift and pressurizes her into accepting them. Sheila's colleagues are impressed by her new clothes, but Nick, as always, doesn't pay her any attention. He is completely focused on Kin the entire time and nothing else bothers him. He keeps howling around her office to see if she's wearing a ring, and Sheila notices his odd behavior. She then hears some people complaining that Nick should not have killed the female lead of the novel, but Sheila says that she is certain that a good writer like him will make it work out well in the end. Hearing this, Nick feels a bit better and immediately calls her to his office. He gives her first task after becoming a permanent, and she is really overjoyed. As a side quest, he also asks her to check up on Kin and tell him about her. So Sheila stumbles into Kin's office because of her high heels, and then happily gives her the files Nick has sent. When she returns, Nick asks if Kin is wearing a ring, but Sheila has not paid attention to that. However, she could tell that there was a jewelry box on the table, and that is enough to put Nick's mood down. Later, as the working hours end, Sheila is about to head home, but Arnold calls her and asks her to stay in the office till her boss leaves because that is the job of a good assistant. Sheila agrees and stays behind, but Nick doesn't come out because of his grief. Later, Arnold visits Sheila to deliver her dinner, and also a wine bottle so that she can get her boss drunk and something may happen. Anyway, Sheila keeps working, and when Nick comes out of his office, he is already hammered. She supports him and takes him down the elevator, but the elevator gets stuck in the middle. Sheila panics and cries for help, but there's no one in the office. She doesn't want to call Arnold also because that would create suspicion. However, Arnold is the mastermind behind all this. He has disabled the elevator and is watching Sheila and Nick from the security room to see if they make any progress. In the elevator, Nick feels thirsty, and the only liquid there is the bottle of wine. The liquor starts talking to Kin, and Nick starts ranting about how he has liked Kin for a long time, and now she's getting engaged to someone else. Sheila doesn't want to hear his secrets because Nick may regret them later, so to avoid talking to him, she pretends to pass out. Arnold panics. Thin King knows that the drunk Nick may take advantage of her, so he runs to rescue her. Just as he brings her out of the elevator, Sheila realizes that he was behind it. While Nick leaves, Arnold tries to run but trips on thin air, and Sheila catches him. To avoid her questions and change the topic, he says that he tried to set her up, but soon figured out that Nick is not worth her. Sheila says he is rich and handsome, and Arnold tells her that those are not the only qualities someone as adorable as her should search for in a man. He then reveals that he bought new clothes for her to make her fit Nick's style, but then realizes that he should not have said it. He makes a run for home, and Sheila pursues him. He doesn't open the door for her, and she angrily heads back to her home. Meanwhile, Arnold has started getting overwhelmed by his emotions because he can't think about anything other than Sheila. To clear his mind and verify his feelings, he sneaks into Sheila's room while she is sleeping. He gets closer to her, and she slaps him in the sleep. That slap seems to work wonders on Arnold, and he thinks that he is not attracted to her after all. The next day, Sheila doesn't wear the expensive dress but her usual outfit to work. Her mom asks the reason, and she replies that confidence doesn't come from clothes but personality. Once she heads to work, she finds Arnold outside. He tries talking to her, but Sheila ignores him, but he is persistent like an insurance salesman. Finally, Sheila lashes out at him, calling him untrustworthy, and says he is not a good person like she thought he was. Sheila goes away, and Arnold is left hurt. After that, in the office, Sheila and Nick are awkward around each other. When they get in the elevator, Nick texts her to keep everything he told her yesterday a secret. Once Sheila is in the office, she starts getting nervous that she may accidentally reveal Nick's secret. As she is griping about it, all her colleagues gather around and ask if she is having troubles with a boy. Sheila is irritated, but luckily Arnold was also annoyed that she called him a bad guy, so he calls her to make it up to her. Although still angry at him, Sheila quickly picks up the call and goes outside the office to meet him. Arnold offers to take her to lunch, but Sheila doesn't want to, until he takes out a USB drive that has the security footage of the elevator last night. Arnold tells Sheila to come to lunch with him if she wants to get this pen drive and keep her boss's secret, and she obliges. However, she doesn't eat anything out of spite, so Arnold first gives her the pen drive and then swears to God that he will never lie to her again. Sheila forgives him with that and starts eating, and Arnold tries getting closer to her by saying that they should eat some ice cream after this, because he has never tried it before. However, just then, Sheila gets a call from Cece, who asks her to come on a double date with her. She manages to convince Sheila through some emotional blackmail, and after the call, Sheila leaves for her office without even thanking King Arnold. In the office, Nick calls Sheila to his chamber and tells her to get the information on Kin's engagement ASAP. Sheila tells him that if he loves Kin, he should go out and tell her, and if he is scared, he should never have loved in the first place. Later that night, Sheila goes on the double date, where her partner is actually Cece's younger brother. While they are enjoying themselves, Arnold also arrives there and gets jealous. He tries to mess with them, but only brings them closer, so he accepts defeat and leaves for home. At the same time, Nick goes to Kin's office to confess her feelings after being inspired by Sheila's words. However, he loses courage when facing her. He still tries to make small talk and asks about the necklace her boyfriend gifted her. Kin replies that she returned it because they broke up, since they wanted to go different directions in life. Nick is delighted, and he quickly calls Sheila to thank her for her advice, saying he will be counting on her from now on. Sheila didn't want any part of this, and she starts stress drinking. On the other hand, Arnold is stress eating as he waits for Sheila to come home. He wonders what is happening when suddenly Sheila arrives at his door and starts shouting. He opens the door for her and finds her completely hammered, but she still remembered to bring ice cream for him. She sits quite close to him and then starts yapping about random things before getting even closer and sharing the ice cream in a very seductive way. Arnold is taken aback, and then Sheila abruptly falls asleep on his shoulder. He takes her to her room and puts her to bed, but she holds his hand and doesn't let him go. Arnold keeps watching her and eventually falls asleep next to her. When he wakes up the next morning, he tries to free his hand and go, but the half-asleep Sheila mistakes him for a dream and holds his hand even tighter. Just then, Sheila's mom knocks at the door to wake her up, and Arnold immediately hides under the bed. When Sheila wakes up, she remembers how close she got to Arnold yesterday and rushes to his flat to find out if that was the truth. Arnold also leaves from the window once the room is empty and takes his sweet time cleaning the beer cans and other things. He then pretends to be woken up from deep sleep as he opens the door for Sheila, but now he can feel flowers blooming when he sees her. Sheila just waltzes into his room to ask if anything happened between them last night. She finds no trace, and Arnold also tells her that nothing happened. She goes to his bedroom and finds his bed looking like no one has slept on it. Arnold makes some excuses, and then Sheila finds his belt lying around. She scolds him for being unorganized, but Arnold's kinks start waking up on seeing Sheila with a belt, and now he wants her to dominate him. Sheila starts worrying as he looks unwell and checks up his temperature, making his condition even worse. He starts trying to get rid of all the things that belong to Sheila in his flat, but everywhere he goes, he sees her face. He starts getting mad and runs away from his house. Later, Sheila gets late for work, but as soon as she enters the building, she is summoned into Nick's office. He treats her nicely because he needs her help with Kin again. He asks her to set up a meeting with Kin and tells her to come up with a reason by herself. Sheila goes to Kin's office and tells her about the meeting, and Kin agrees without saying anything. Sheila is shocked, and Kin says that she understands how unpredictable Nick can be, so she is ready for anything. Later, Arnold returns home and finds Sheila waiting for him on the stairs. He thinks she is an illusion and tries to avoid her, but it is the real deal. She tells Arnold that today is her mom's birthday and he is invited. Arnold wants to go, but thinks that it would make things even worse for him, so he says that he can't come. He starts making excuses, but Sheila follows him persistently everywhere. Once they entered his house, they found it flooded because some pipes broke. Sheila tries helping Arnold plug those pipes, but seeing her drenched in water aroused Arnold's feelings, and he immediately tells her to get out of his house. Outside, Sheila runs into her mom and tells her that Arnold is refusing to come to her birthday party. Her mom thinks that it is because Sheila must have been rude to him, so she goes to invite him personally. So Arnold comes to the birthday dinner with them and enjoys himself, but then he suddenly realizes that he should not get so close to Sheila. He immediately leaves to the washroom, and once they are going back, he tells Sheila's mom that he will not come in their cab. Sheila tells her mom that she will also walk home with him and gets out of the cab. She tries to figure out why exactly Arnold is upset, but he suddenly starts yelling at her, saying that she doesn't think about his feelings at all. Sheila is completely clueless, but despite running from her, Arnold can't run from his feelings. He tries to search ways to suppress love online, but he only finds that it isn't going to happen. and if the other person acts nicely with you, you will definitely fall for them. Just then, he gets a message from Sheila, who apologizes. King Arnold is upset because her mom forced him to join them. She promises to go somewhere he wants the next time, and Arnold suddenly starts feeling nervous and giddy. He doesn't reply, and Sheila keeps waiting for him to reply. In the morning, too, she tries reaching out to him but doesn't. He must be still mad. On the other side, Nick has brought Kin to an art exhibition on Sheila's advice. Kin likes art, and she keeps talking about it, not giving Nick the chance to convey his feelings. Just then, she finds an artist their company is working with, and they both start talking, leaving Nick in the corner. On the other hand, Arnold is trying to get Sheila out of his mind by engaging in various activities. He tries painting but ends up drawing Sheila's portrait. He tries to go to various exercise and meditation classes, but Sheila keeps texting him that they should go somewhere in the evening. He avoids her texts, so she calls him when he is in a meditation class. He ultimately picks up the call and refuses blatantly. Sheila is upset now and wishes someone to help her deal with this drama queen. As soon as she says this, Arnold is teleported right in front of her to help her out. Well, now he has no choice but to do as she says, and together with Cece and her boyfriend, they go to a haunted house-themed escape room. Sheila and Arnold team up and reach the final room, where they have to mimic some poses to get out. They do the cringe poses one by one, but the last pose is to hug each other, and Arnold is not comfortable with it. He tells Sheila that a boy and a girl should not do inappropriate things like this, and she asks if he bumped his head on the way or something, because he used to be quite aggressive in the beginning. She asks him if he has started seeing someone else who will get jealous that he hugged another girl, and to shut up her yapping, Arnold tightly hugs her. He doesn't want to let go, but the door opens and Sheila runs out. Later, they cycle their way home, and though Arnold fights back the urge to tell Sheila his true feelings, he decides to stop being so grumpy and moody. Later, Sheila's mom asks the reason why she looks so happy, and she says it is nothing. Her mother then inquires about the novel she was writing, and Sheila replies that she has lost the drive to write it after getting to know Nick, who was her inspiration for the main character. Her mom tells her to pick another muse, and Sheila immediately thinks of Arnold, but then decides to shelve that thought. The next day, Arnold comes to the conclusion that he should accept his feelings and live in a way that brings him comfort. So he gets ready and prepares an elaborate breakfast, thinking that Sheila will obviously visit him before going to work. However, Sheila doesn't come, and when he opens the door, he finds that she has already left. On the other hand, in her office, Kin reads the draft of the story Sheila wrote with Nick as the male lead. She immediately summons her, and Sheila freaks out as she sees her story with Kin. Kin knows that Nick is the male lead, Sheila is the heroine, and Arnold is the villain in the novel. Sheila tries to explain that it was just a fantasy she had earlier, and now she doesn't have any special feelings towards her boss. She tries to overcompensate by promising to never write again, but Kin laughs and hands her a form. Their company is going to organize a talent hunt for new writers soon, and Kin wants Sheila to participate in it. Nick sees them talking, so he immediately goes to Sheila after she is free, and once again asks her for tips about how to approach Kin. At the same time, Arnold texts Sheila, inviting her to spend time with him, but she can't see his text because of Nick. This makes Arnold impatient, and he reaches outside her office to call her, telling her to come down within 2 minutes or he will come up. Sheila doesn't want him to come up and create confusion, so she runs down. She asks him what he wants, but he just wants to spend some quality time with her. They are having lunch, and Arnold tries to get Sheila to feed him, and when she doesn't, he chases after her fork. Just then, they notice Sheila's colleagues watching them from the window, and they decide to join them for lunch. Arnold is not happy at all, and on top of that, his colleagues start asking him about himself. Sheila answers all the questions on his behalf, fearing he will speak the truth. Arnold is getting too bored of them and wants to be alone with Sheila again, so he flicks a button at one lady's cup and makes her spill her tea. He uses this chance to pull Sheila close to himself, but that doesn't last long either. Once everyone leaves, Sheila starts going with them as well, but Arnold stops her. He tells her that they will go to the escape room again tonight, and though Sheila doesn't want to, she decides to humor him this time. Arnold warns her that they will have to be alone this time, and she can't bring anyone else. Sheila accepts his conditions and leaves, and Arnold is happy because now he can hug her again. Meanwhile, Nick is in a mess in his office. He wants to talk to Kin, but everyone is keeping him busy, and he has to do some office parkour to finally meet her, but even Kin only talks about business, leaving him empty-handed. Later, as Sheila leaves the office, she finds Arnold waiting for him. They go to the haunted house escape room, but the theme has been changed and the games too. Arnold doesn't like them and gets angry when the guy cosplaying the ghost tries to kiss Sheila as her reward. After that, Sheila goes to the ferry park to get some inspiration for her story for the writing competition. Coincidentally, Arnold is also there to curse out the fairy god for bringing him here. He asks why he has to feel everything when Sheila was the one who wanted unforgettable love. He says it is unfair on him, and Sheila hears only the last part. She approaches him and asks what he is talking about. He tries to change the topic, but Sheila is persistent. She starts getting some hints and thinks that Arnold is hiding something from her. She gets close to him, asking what he's hiding, and Arnold gets so nervous that he loses consciousness. Sheila lifts him on her back and takes him to his home. When he wakes up, she lectures him, asking why he had to go out if he was not feeling well. Arnold replies that he wanted to have fun with her and didn't want to burden her with his issues. She puts him to bed and tells him to take better care of himself. Arnold uses his abilities to manipulate his body temperature so that Sheila thinks he has a fever and cares more for him. Sheila gives him some medicine and then cooks some soup for him as she starts leaving, but Arnold doesn't want her to go yet. He drops the bowl of soup with his hand vibrating like an old Nokia phone. Sheila is forced to stay and feed him soup with her own hands. After that, she decides to leave. But Arnold has more tricks up his sleeve and he starts bleeding from his nose. Sheila cancels her plans again, and then Arnold requests her to stay longer with him and leave after he has fallen asleep. She does so but falls asleep while waiting. At midnight, she wakes up and returns to her room after seeing that he is sound asleep. The next morning, she prepares more soup for him, but that shocks her mom because Sheila has never stepped foot in the kitchen before. On the other hand, Arnold is having the time of his life, but when he hears Sheila coming, he immediately hides in his bed, acting sick. He then tells Sheila that he often fell sick in his childhood too, but recovered soon if there was someone by his side all the time to care for him. Sheila is surprised to hear that because she never wrote anything like this, but she decides to believe in him. Arnold thinks that Sheila is going to stay with him today, but she says psyche and leaves her mom there. Arnold is shocked, and now he does not even want to play sick. Meanwhile, as Sheila reaches her office, she eagerly finds her boss waiting for him, and now she knows that she has to deal with another headache. They go to Nick's office, where he says that he did just as she told him and took Kin on a date to her favorite art exhibit, but she didn't understand his feelings. Sheila finds it improbable, and on further inquiry, she learns that he took Kin out under the guise of a business meeting, so she didn't catch anything. Sheila mentally facepalms as she tells Nick that he should keep business and personal life and try again next time. After that, she texts Arnold to see how he is doing, but he is too busy being smothered by Sheila's mother's care. Because of that, neither Arnold nor Sheila's mom see any texts, and Sheila grows worried. As soon as her work is done, she rushes home and asks her mom about Arnold's health. She tells him that Arnold has become fully healthy, so she goes to see him with some soup. She tells Arnold that now he is healthy, she can freely do other things, and Arnold realizes he can't pretend to be ill again, so he comes up with another trick to get closer to Sheila. At night, as Sheila is trying to come up with an idea for a story, the electricity goes out. She goes to check the connection meter, where Arnold also arrives, spooking her out. He tells them that his house still has electricity, and it is too late to get an electrician, so they should just stay over. Sheila is hesitant, but her mom agrees, and they go to Arnold's flat. They play some card games and then go to sleep. Arnold is really happy, and the next morning, he prepares an elaborate breakfast for everyone. Sheila tells him that she has already called for the electrician, but it turns out that Arnold messed things up so craftily that even the electrician couldn't figure out what to do. Now, Sheila and her mom become permanent residents of Arnold's home. He makes plans to watch a movie with Sheila that he has already shown to his mom, and even given her best friend separate tickets so that she doesn't come to become the unneeded third wheel. Later, he and Sheila go to the movie theater, and Sheila watches the movie while Arnold watches her. She doesn't pay him any attention, and Arnold thinks it is because of the handsome male lead. That is why he acts like he didn't like the movie and says they should watch another movie. He deliberately picks a boring cartoon movie so that Sheila will pay attention to him, but she prefers to sleep instead. However, she falls asleep on his shoulder instead, and Arnold will take that. He does not wake Sheila up until the cleaning staff comes, and they head out. Sheila explains that she has not been able to get enough sleep lately, so she fell asleep during the movie. Arnold asks what has been keeping her up, and she tells him that he won't understand, but when he insists, she tells him that she can't come up with an idea about a story. Arnold suggests that she can write the story of what happened to them, and Sheila likes it. She thanks him for the idea, but Arnold is happier than her, thinking that now maybe she will see how he feels for her. That's all for this video. If you liked it, like and comment, and don't forget to subscribe.